This color negative film is a popular choice among film photographers right now for several reasons. For warm tones if you like that, for punchy contrast if you like that, and also a weird feature with halations. But more on that in a minute. First, let's talk about Cinestill 400D. So this week I took out 2 rolls of 35mm Cinestill 400D to really get an idea of what it feels like in a real world run and gun sort of photography situation, along with the EOS 3, which I think is amazing for 35mm, so of course I paired the two together for these photo shoots. To introduce this topic though, let's talk about how Cinestill 400D is a daylight balanced 400 speed ISO film, great for all kinds of lighting situations. But beyond just the box speed at 400, you also get a really high contrast film stock with Cinestill 400D that's very reminiscent to a lot of film photographers who shoot either portrait or gold, both of which are very warm, which you also get in Cinestill 400D, but you also get a very distinct aspect that you won't find in the other two that you will either love or hate. And again, we'll talk about it, but I want to make sure that we talked about how it's very comparable in certain aspects to gold or portrait in my opinion, but then you also get this really weird aspect as well. But first, let me show you some images, that way you can get an idea and a picture in your head of what these images are going to look like and kind of the contrast and color that we're talking about. That way when I give you my opinion at the end, it'll kind of make a little more sense, I think.
Everything around me looks a little great. Ever since you found out, worry about my brain. I just need a time out, probably just a sprain. It's okay, baby, it's okay. Got a lot of words you don't know how to say. Pull out all your big ones, tryna flip my face. I give you a big hug, say I'm feeling great. It's okay, baby, it's okay. I don't wanna see you worry, but if you come on too early, if you make my toes too curly, and if you really have on me, baby, can't hold that roll, how to get it so wrong. Get it sometimes you cold, on a big problem though, yeah. Cause to me you're an angel. If you ask me why, I say yeah, yo. Everything around me looks a little great. Ever since you found out, worry about my brain. I just need a time out, probably just a sprain. It's okay, baby, it's okay. Got a lot of words you don't know how to say. Pull out all your big ones, tryna flip my face. I give you a big hug, say I'm feeling great. It's okay, baby, it's okay.
So now that you've seen some general examples, I wanted to show you my favorite because of the color tone and just perfect lighting I think that was captured in this shot. So in this shot we have a building which is perfectly lit on the left hand side with the landings being yellow based on where the sun is, and then the right side of the building is in contrast really deep blue. It's perfectly lit in my opinion, very sharp, the grain is minimal, so if you're not super into seeing extremely sandpaper grain, it's pretty good for that in my opinion, but overall I think it just gives a really good aesthetic based on the color palette and that it's warm on one side and cooler on the other, and overall just a really great image. But this is something that you could create with this film stock in my opinion. But more than that, I think this example really explains why Cinestill 400D is very Kodak gold or portrait-like in that it exposes well, it's versatile, it's contrasty, it's punchy, it gives you all of the aspects of a good film photo that you like. On top of that, it's just really nice to look at, and it really fits well to those warm, contrasty situations. So if you're shooting in those, I think it's a great film stock to take with you. But more than just those talking points, which we hear a lot with just general film stocks, there's one specific to Cinestill 400D that I find very interesting. And again, this is one where I said you'll either love it or hate it, and that deals with the halations and extreme highlights in your images. Basically, rimjet is just a layer for protection of film that does a lot of things, but specifically with halations, it removes a lot of the halation in that film stock. So it keeps that light reverberation down between the layers of film. When you remove that on the other side, this is where you'll start to see these halations or basically expanse of light inside of your extreme highlights. Now, I've talked about this before in a previous video, so if you want to see a little bit more or get a better idea about that, I'm going to link it here as well, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it, that when you see these red halations or these red flares off of a specific part of your film, it's because of the removal of the rim jet layer, and it's very specific with Cinestill 400D. But this is the part where I said it's really up to you whether you like that or you don't like that. So keep that in mind. It is an aspect that you will find in a lot of Cinestill photos because of those extreme highlights. So maybe if you like it, cool. If you don't, use it for other things. It's very good in certain aspects and maybe not others. So keep that in mind as well. However, even if you don't like that aspect, one thing that makes Cinestill really great is because they've removed that rim jet layer, you can use this film, which was originally packaged as motion picture film, with their C41 processing, which means it's regular color development that Cinestill also sells, so it makes it easy for home development. So even if you don't like that halation aspect, keep in mind there is a benefit that you can now process this film with regular C41, which is awesome. And beyond all of that, hopefully you will let me know what you're thinking about in a comment down below. I would love to hear all of your thoughts, whether it's about Cinestill or the photos or any of the ideas I've kind of shown you or said to you here in this video. And I would specifically love to know what you think about halations in these photos, whether you like them or you don't, or think of some aspects where you would like them better than in other ones. I would love to hear all of that specifically as well. And while you're down there, hopefully you'll check out my links for Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and let me know what you're thinking about there as well. I would love to interact with you on all the social platforms, so make sure you check me out there as well. And with that, I'm going to hit you with the typical peace out, and I will see you guys in the next one.